continent. 50 years after most nations in Africa regain, if we do an objective analysis, survey, or quantitative, the result will shock you that the continent witnessed more infrastructural development in the times of the colonial masters than in the time when our Africans were celebrating that their resources will now be used to make their countries and their continent to be an El Dorado. It was also a moment where Africans were hoping that the nation and their respective territories would become a place where most Europeans will want to come and take citizenship. It was also a moment when Africans were celebrating the fact that the aspect of poor treatment of Africans, the aspect of non-accountability of Africans, the aspect in which Africans were subjected to forced labor will be an issue of the past. We celebrated when the Union Jack came down in most of our African countries, and that is why Osagiefu Kwame Nkrumah, the first president of independent Ghana in 1957, said the independence of Ghana would be meaningless unless it is linked with the total emancipation for its different African states. And in Tanzania, the president at the time also said that it would be good for Africans to come together and see how they can develop their country. Haile Selassie of Ethiopia was not left out in this, in which he also decried the nature of European colonization and partition for Africa. And he said that there is time for us to look at Africa not as the boundaries drawn by the people who sat in Berlin, but also should be looked as people who share a common culture and values. However, 50 years after we regained this independence across most of our African continent, most of our countries in Africa, the balance sheet is clear. We are still talking about the issue of poor roads network. But our leaders traveled. They go to Beijing, Moscow, New York, Hong Kong, UK, and they take beautiful pictures with good network, good railway system, good traffic, and they post these beautiful pictures on their official government handle. And when they come back to our continent, we are shuttled between bad roads. In fact, bad roads have killed many more people in our African continent, including Cameroon, than gun will do that. When our African leaders also traveled, they go for good medical attention with good hospitals, well-class hospitals. In fact, they do selfie in these hospitals. But when we look at our own hospitals in Africa, this same continent that they defend huge sums of budget at their respective parliament, whether it is in Kenya, whether it is in Sudan, whether it is in Nigeria, whether it is in Ivory Coast or Senegal, they defend huge sums of budget, but the budget ends up in the pockets of selected few. In fact, the constitution of our African states and most African nations ought to be the supreme document that protects our nation. When you go to the Western nation, you will hear somebody will tell you, do you know I can call police for you? I will sue you. But in Africa, to know where things doesn't work, the adage will be, do you know who I am? To connaître qui je suis in some French country. To tell you that it is no longer the law. Because if it is the law, it will not be, do you know who I am? It will be, I can sue you. But because we are ruled by law and not of law, we are fortunate or unfortunate to have justice. To those who are strong are fortunate to have justice. Now, let us also look at the economy. Our economy is creeping and crawling in most of our African nations. 50 years after we regain our independence, where are the human and natural resources? I want to keep away the natural resources because it will be a polemic for a different day. The human capacity. There are nations that don't have these resources, but they are doing well. They are almost moving to first-class nations. Singapore is an example. Malaysia is an example. These are nations. Japan is an example. These are nations. But the question now we should be asking ourselves within the African country is, since when did we start gratifying thieves? Since when did we start gratifying people based on our cultural background? Today, you just need to have birth certificate or fraud your certificate and you will be applauded and be voted president in one of our countries in Africa. Today, you just need to come from a very popular ethnic group and you'll be voted, irrespective of your track record or capacity. We don't longer look at track record or capacity. We don't longer look at what you can do. We now look at who you are and what you can offer on the table for us to eat. Today, we gratify those who embezzle huge sums of money and we call them our thieves. In civilized countries, in countries that things work, when people are appointed by the president, they are not celebrated by their families. But in our country, we write motion of support in our continent and thank the head of state for appointing one of our own who will give us our own national cake. But should it be that system? And so we are asking the question on House of Commons today. What are the 5 neglected sectors in Cameroon that we should work on in order to enhance our country and make our country to become a better place? Just yesterday, the president of Burkina Faso, Ibrahim Traoré, granted an interview on France 24 on Russian television. He said, and I quote, "I want my country to become an El Dorado. The things that young men go out to look for, I want that in the next 10 years, they will come and look for it in Burkina Faso. Because Burkina Faso is the heart of Africa. And when the heart is doing well, the rest of the body will do well." This is House of Commons with me, Tah Mai Jarvis. All those of you watching us, if you're watching us on different social media platforms, happy Sunday to you. Happy Sunday to you, Bonka Dezil. May the good God continue to guide and protect you, Bonka Dezil. And also to you in the United States of America, Mr. Nyam Robert and the wife also want to wish you a happy Sunday to Myra, Kela, and all the entire family. Here in the studio, we are joined by a progressive, he called himself the progressive, and he's known by many as a progressive CPDM. He's a father to many, promoter of higher education, quality education, and someone that believes in accountability, objectivity. And he doesn't believe in the fact that it is who you know. He believes in the fact it is what actually you know. And he is also someone that has been contributing humanitarianly in helping most of those in need, especially in the domain of agriculture, and also believe that we must bring in solutions that can address the root cause of a problem and not by looking at the solution that is superficial. It is it's also known for that the fact that before you criticize, you should propose something before criticizing. Dr. Nick Ngwanyan, happy Sunday.
Thank you very much. Je vous salue tous. We were supposed to have this topic last week, and I'm glad it's coming this week because in the meantime I've been thinking. Especially this morning, when I left from Mass, I was thinking, and I even this question can be rephrased, you know, like I put it down. What are some of the major lies that we have been telling ourselves that keep us in darkness? Your five things we have been neglecting. We can rephrase it. What are some of the major lies that we have been telling ourselves that keep us in the darkness? And when I ask that question, as far as concerned as Cameroon is concerned, don't forget, of course, you were talking of Africa. So Africa has been doing something that is wrong. But let's narrow it to our own household and find out what are the 2 major lies that we've been telling ourselves. And Jarvis, you remember when I spoke last time to say that our education is bad, a lot of people almost hanged me. They almost killed me. But I would say that the number 1 lie that we've been telling ourselves has been a bad education for 60 years. We've been deceiving ourselves thinking that we are going to school and we are educated. No, the white man messed us up big time. He stole our brains and our wisdom. The second lie that has killed Cameroon, because we had an opportunity to start to correct ourselves, but we choose to tell a lie. A lie in 2019, we told a lie that has actually just been messing us up big time. That there was a major national dialogue that was supposed to free us, but yet we choose to carry out a monologue. That was something that messed us up big time. So this is the foundation of our problems, and once you've understood put this foundation of our problems, you can begin to cite the branches and the leaves and so on. But that said, beyond the lies, what is the treatment to the current problems we are facing? I'm laying this foundation so you can understand the my arguments as we'll be going forward. The root causes are the lies we've been telling. The treatment the treatment for our problems will be that we begin to speak the truth in love and face reality and do things with reason and seek for excellence, be productive. That is what the progressive mindset is all about, doing things properly, not doing things by telling ourselves lies. And then once we do that, then we'll come to a point where we will see results. Once we start doing that, what is the treatment? The treatment prescribed is tell the truth. And how are you going to do it? Do all those things that would allow us to carry out import substitution. If you can do anything that can begin to substitute, that is change your economy, then we'll be on the right track. And what will be the evidence that we have been doing the right thing? We would begin to see that our economy, which is currently a very primitive economy, is corrected, that we are going to have economic independence, that you are going to be seeing the kind of development that Jarvis has been asking for, that that come 2035, Cameroon will be the best country in Africa. And just like he was saying, the president of Burkina Faso, what he was talking about, yes, he was saying the right thing. In fact, I think he's the #1 progressive fellow that I know. So yeah. If you see all those presidents, they're all, in fact, probably you don't know. Along the line, I'm going to show you that President Paul Biya is one of the most progressive presidents, but it's just that people are not aware of it. We'll discuss that as we go down the road. But the bottom line is we are having our economic independence. Number 2, we are emerging in 2035, though we are starting late. Thanks.
Dr. Nick, we see how progressive we are with our roads
yeah,
and our hospitals.
No, the progressive fixture will fix it.
Here in the studio, we are also joined by a Pan-Africanist and someone that believes that Africa must be respected and we must put Africa first. And also believe that the problems faced by Africans can only be resolved by Africans if they keep away the colonial borders and look for the things that unite them more than that which divide them more. He is also the CEO of Panelist International Award, and he is here in the studio with us. He is Professor Mac Akuhmbom with a very strong theological background. Professor, happy Sunday.
Thank you very much, Jarvis. Happy Sunday to all of us. I want to also say welcome to all my fellow panelists.
Like chief, eh?
And that's what it means to be an African. You see, most of the time, some of us, we have the opportunity like this to actually educate Cameroonians and Africans concerning what we are going through, but we do most of the times neglect the opportunity given to us. I want to believe that this morning we are going to be helping Cameroonians and Africans to understand those particular issues that actually has kept the continent in darkness or in one position even after the so-called independence since the 1960s that we had. And I think it is time for us to upgrade the way we see things and present them. If you look at the question, the #1 question asks there, what are the five neglected sections in Cameroon that can help the nations, or let me say the national economy, to boom? I think I want to also begin by saying that we have education, which is the base. We have the agricultural domain, which is really what should boost our economy, because we are particularly an agrarian economy if we have to look at things critically. We also have the health sector, which every common man out there depends on. And the worst part of it is that today we have gotten to the place where we have abandoned the healthy health sector of our own continent. You see, we have pushed those individuals who understand natural medicine behind and accepted imported ideologies that actually do not fit with our continent. At times people will say that we are kind of encouraging a non-scientific approach to, no, everything that is done on earth is scientific. You might not be able to do a kind of qualitative analysis of what has been presented to you, but there is always a procedure to come out with a drug, whether it comes from a herbalist, or we call them naturopathic doctors, or holistic doctors. At times we neglect them, which we need to go back into it. So we're developing on that. Then we have the fourth. The fourth, we have a problem of lack of progressive leadership. A leadership that does not think for the future. That's one of the greatest problems we have in Cameroon. And
so you are joining the progressive.
No, it's not been, it's a word. You see, we have a serious problem with the way our leaders see things. Doctor quoted Singapore. We do not have accountable leaders who bring maybe a policy, then they are able to show us how progressive they have been with the policy, how they have successfully achieved it. There is nothing. For people just come up with slogans and throw. Bam, we have spoken about 2035. We are in 2023. And I'm struggling to see how the path to the realization.
We are more than halfway to 2023. Eh?
I'm waiting for the plan for the realization, how it is going to be achieved. It is not all about speeches. It should be about us getting practical on the ground. It is true that we have some few individuals who are doing their best to see that the nation gets to a point. But if all of us are not involved, then we are making a mistake. Then I want to come back to the feed. The feed aspect is the civil society. Once we think that a civil society in a particular society or in a particular community is just there, might be to look for ways to get what they can eat, then we are making a mistake. When the civil society is neglected, or when the civil society does not recognize its power, then it becomes dangerous for the community. At the end of the day, we will keep making noise. There's nobody to hold who accountable. There's nobody to speak about the things. There is nobody to actually say, okay, this is what needs to be done, and we need to hold you accountable on this. So there is time for everything, but I think now is the time for us to actually sit down and do what is necessary. We can't be talking of, when we talk of leadership, we'll come back and put governance inside. We'll put everything. We have a serious problem with governance in Africa. That's why you see a coup d'etat happening every day. It is not a problem of democracy. Africa had never had a problem of democracy because democracy is actually not a part of Africa. Let's be sincere. And so we need to get to a place where we understand what is our problem and define it, then give a solution to it. And once that happens, we are able now to say, okay, if we have handled this, then let us move ahead. Okay. But we have not yet been able to identify our own problems. It's not a talk of providing solutions. Okay. So I think our discussions work in building us towards that line. Thank you.
Also here in the studio, we are joined by engineer Dickson. Is someone that has been training a lot of engineering students across some higher institutions in Cameroon, and has also proposed solutions when it comes to ensuring that we should have a good structure in terms of our environmental laws, both all in terms of providing access to young engineering students to be able to have data and do their research that will permit the nations to grow in terms of training engineers that will identify the needs of Cameroonians from the Cameroonian perspective and provide solutions and not artificial solutions. He has also been advocating for the fact that the higher educational system, the higher educational family in itself, must be able to provide resources for lecturers and those support staff to be able to dish out knowledge to the kids to meet up with the 21st century, and for kids to be able to challenge others in different nations and not just Africa, in different Western nations. Engineer Dickson, happy Sunday.
Happy Sunday, Mr. Jarvis, and happy Sunday to our televiewers in the house. I think today we are going to take this platform to inform Cameroonians on the stakes of our economy and what needs to happen for us to have a workable economy. It's not late for us to be having this kind of conversation. I think especially with respect to the president's vision 2035, which he believes Cameroon will be an emerging economy. So I think today we will take this opportunity to put facts and figures together to see where we are and if it's really feasible for us to get to where the president has envisaged. Mr. Jarvis and my dear panelists, I think we are not ignorant of the fact that governance is a complex issue. It's very complex, especially in our Cameroon context, where we have different ethnic groups and different regions with different needs. But I want to say this: every country that has broken even economically arrived at a point where they prioritize one and only one thing. I'll give example. If you take China today, China have decided to be the manufacturing country of the world. I don't think there's any country in the world that manufactures more than China. If you take Dubai or the Saudi Arab Emirates, they are fully aware that their petrol they have today will go away. So what are they doing? They are diversifying. They have prioritized what? They are prioritizing tourism. That is why they are bringing in the best architects from all over the world. If you take India, India have decided to be the backbone of IT in the world. If you go to Google, Microsoft, name them, they are India championing.
You have
they are India championing these organizations. They are into IT and they are into health. Dubai is into tourism and health. Now, if you made mention of Touare, the young, vibrant president in Burkina Faso. Touare has said this, that is doing away with all the education that he has met. He has signed partnership with Russia, that there is a new form of education he wants to give to the people of Burkina Faso, which is hands-on education. And he doesn't only end at the level of education, he has come up with a plan to accompany these young Burkinabés who will be trained on how they can use that skill to get into the various sectors of the economy, like processing, like extraction of minerals, like agriculture, like security, health, and more. We need an economy that works. And I think that if our leaders want to see an economy that works, we should be looking at countries that are implementing workable policies. And then we come back now to the country and ask ourselves, which sector have we prioritized? Because Mr. Jarvis, I tell you now, I feel like we are jack of all trade, master of none. We want to do everything at the same time. We spend a lot of it doesn't focalize our resources for us to be more effective in our implementations. So I think this diversification is a big danger, not only to the government in place itself, but to the citizens who cannot be able to meet up with their basic needs of day-to-day activities that they need to carry out. Mr. Jarvis, we have a population of approximately 27 million people, according to world data. 27 million people with over 60% of that population, which is very active, ready to work. But what is happening? I feel like this active population does not have the available means for them to give their service to the country, for them to serve the nation. I don't think there's any Cameroonian who would not love to serve this nation. But unemployment has become the order of the day because leaders don't put checks and balances in place. So we have youth who love this country, but the leaders have disappointed them, disappointed us. I'm also a youth. I think I should include myself. Now, I talked to a lot of youths. I was in a conference the other day and I sampled a crowd of about 200 youths, and believe me, you, Mr. Jarvis, 80% of them, their dream is to go to Canada. What is in Canada? Why are they leaving? Because when they look at us and see the way us, their elder brothers, the way the nation have let us down, they don't want to become like us. And some of them have the courage to say, no, I feel like there is nothing for us in this country.
You want to blame them? Well, you have a system where even government officials are playing American lottery.
They are playing American lottery. People, yes, they have matricles. They can't meet up because the economy is going tighter and tighter, and the policies in place, the people who are there to see into it that they can ameliorate the environment for every Cameroonian to go about the activity normally are not doing their job. Mr. Jarvis, I think Prof has started highlighting some of the points I already have, but I'll come back to buttress some key points. Thank you.
Before getting to Dr. Nick, let me just take on some few messages. Our system of education, agriculture, scientific research, infrastructure, and lastly, our policy makers. Good afternoon. These are the sectors we need to work on. This is coming from Waka Edwin from Fombot. This other one, right, it says, happy Sunday to you guys in the studio. Happy Sunday to you guys. Please help me ask our government, what is our benefit for the toll gate along Chico Douala Road when the road is the worst in this entire country, or even Africa as a whole? Nelson, that's the second part of our discussion. We are still on the first part. It's like you had a foresight about what we shall be discussing. You just mentioned the world data about 27 million people, but unfortunately we did a census in 2006 or 7. We have not had a result till date. It's still part of the problem, because you are quoting the World Bank source, but what of Cameroon, an official source? We invested a lot in census and we have not had the result.
We are scared of data because we are not efficient in what we do.
So, Dr. Nick, you talked about the fact that what are the 5 lies, not instead the 5 neglected aspects.
Yes.
Now, when we look at, in your perspective, first, as a father, second, as a promoter of higher education, and third, as a medical doctor, and fourth, as a philanthropist, what are these 5 areas?
Thank you very much. I'm glad you say so, because you see, I'm a medical doctor, I'm a surgeon, and I don't know which patient or who would like to take his patient or himself to a doctor who tells lies. I don't know who on earth will subject himself to a surgeon who is a liar. You are dead. So, and don't forget, Cardinal Tumi of blessed memory, that's my father. So I have to live in his image, and we have to continue like that. So anything I say on here, please take it seriously. I would like you to refresh your question, but let me just come back to what Dickson and the others have said. And even before I do that, yesterday I was listening to, somebody sent on social media a clip. I think it was Ransom Kuti. I'm sure you know this song. I want to know who owns this land. I want to know who owns this land. America is governed by by Americans. I don't know how it's sung again. I want to know. So he is saying America is governed by Americans. China is governed by the Chinese. England is governed by the English people. And then he's wondering, who owns Africa? Who governs Africa? It's a major question. This song has been around for a very long time. I think I started hearing it when I was in secondary school or university. I have no idea. So Ransom Kuti asked this question a long time ago. But we Africans, we just sing and dance, but we don't think of the message. He had a message there, but no one paid attention to it, and that's a huge problem. We don't think, we don't pay attention, and we joke over very serious issues. And then in another post somewhere, someone was asking another important question. Let's talk about these roads, for instance, just as an example. Who builds roads in China? Chinese. You guys help me answer. Who builds roads in America? Answer like a chorus, my man. Who builds roads in France? The French. Who builds roads in Africa?
Chinese.
You see, that is the problem. We are absent from action. we as a people are absent from action. That is the core of our problem. Number one, we don't govern ourselves. Number two, we don't solve our own problems. It's others who govern us. It's others who tell us what to do. Even when we have a problem, we don't look for a solution. Even when the solution is looking at us in the face, we prefer to take a plane and go and ask the white man what we should do. We don't trust ourselves. That is the most serious problem. And to the extent that, you know, our youth have no hope. That's why they keep running away. There's really no hope. And we will go to understand why is it that they don't have hope. So when we begin to answer these questions, then we will get to what the president wants us to do. It's very, very, very important that we understand these facts. So in the meantime, what are Africans doing? Africans, and don't forget, we're not even feeding ourselves. It's the Chinese that is feeding us. Yes, the rice is. Africans are dancing, they are drinking, and then they are doing some other thing. They are dancing, drinking, and praying.
Africa are dancing and are drinking?
Yes, we are drinking, dancing, praying, looking for women, and then doing some other funny things. And then when you are given the opportunity to lead your people, you are nothing but a thief. So it's very, very unfortunate, and we need to break that cycle and make things work. And they are going to work, especially in Cameroon. They will work whether we like it or not. For one thing, let me just say something. Some people might not take it, some people might take it, but it's important that I say it. Listen, I don't know what you think of President Paul Biya. Some people will say he's bad, he's the devil incarnate. Some people will say he's good and all and all. Okay, that's the way you look at it. But have you ever really sat down to think and ask yourself real questions? When we're talking about Cameroon, don't look at President Paul Biya, don't look at the government. Let us look at everybody. You look at Biya, look at the government, look at the people, look at the teachers, look at the professors. Professors like Mac Anthony, they tell lies. Everybody is just a liar. Hate speech, everything. 350 political associations, all liars. So let us.
That's a very, very stupid statement.
Yeah, that's a joke so that people can remember. You are not a liar. Sometimes, you know, in communication, you have to make people remember your stuff. So now back to Akuhmbom. Yes. Okay. This is the point. You know, like I said, I think I mentioned it on TV sometimes. There was some other person from another country who examined our president. He's not a Cameroonian, so he examined our president from his own prism. And you know, we have been admiring the president in Mali.
Assimi Goïta.
Yes, and he said that President Paul Biya has done exactly what the president of Mali has done.
Yes.
It's just that we are blind, we don't see him. While the president of Mali is a military person, and he did it the military way, President Paul Biya has done exactly the same thing in a more subtle way over time, so that many people don't realize it. You have to be a smart thinker, an intellectual, to see it. And then many of our professors are not intellectual. They have just read book and are just but they don't think. Now let me show you. I don't know whether it's going to hurt us or bless us, but it's important for what I'm saying that a lot of Cameroonians understand this, because President Paul Biya has just a short span of life to go, and there is something that he carries in his spirit, something that he's been trying to do for Cameroonians. And if Cameroonians don't understand what he has been doing, if he goes with it, we are all dead. So it's important that we lay a foundation of understanding, so that he places that thing in our hands, in our hearts, so that when he's going, he knows that there will be continuity. It's very important. Whether you like him or not, please listen carefully. Do you know that Cameroon is one of the richest countries as far as minerals and so on are concerned? True. But the question is, why are those minerals not being extracted? It's for our own good. Do you know that President Paul Biya is the only one or one of the few who has not renewed all those French Accords? Do you know that? Do you know it's a blessing? Now listen. Do you also know? If you don't know, you remember when President Macron visited us the last time and they were in Unity Palace, there was a young girl, I think she probably was just 22 or 23, just because she's a white girl, she talks and she can talk anyhow to us. And she was asking our president, we used to have 40% of trade with you, and now it's only 10%. What are you Biya going to do about it? Can you imagine? Who is she, for heaven's sake? Because we've been spoon feeding you, and now the spoon is taken away. You come with your I don't know what, and you are asking our president what we are going to do to continue to feed you. You see how they take us for granted. I just want Cameroonians to. So, and the president, in his humorous way, he behaves as if he don't understand, but he is the smartest guy under the sun. He makes as if he's not understood, but he understood. But Cameroonians are boozing so much that they don't even understand what is going on under the carpet.
But doctor, will you blame Cameroonians for boozing?
No, they are boozing because I don't blame them. It's the lack of education that's making them booze. The beer, and then they come and disturb us. I mean, do you know the best industry that is functioning in Cameroon? It's brasseries. You go and look at the charts. They're the top, while Camtel is number 10. MTN and Orange, which sell Camtel products, are way up there. You see, so Camtel is the one that has the thing and is number 10. Those that come and take Camtel products and are trading them are high up there. So you see, it has to do with our education and the way we do things. Now, I'm trying to show you this so that you realize that there is a problem in our country. A problem might be with the president, a problem with his government, because a lot of the people in his government don't support the president, in the sense that when the president appoints them, they think that he has appointed them to be clapping and to become a choir masters and be singing for him, instead of using strategy and working. That's where they fail. So the president is up there hoping that the government has put himself will lead the people and work the people, but they abandon that and are dancing better and making the choir practice. It's not choir practice. The president is not interested in that you are praising it. He's interested in you doing your work. That is the greatest mistake, and that is the greatest chagrin that President Paul Biya has. If you think I'm lying, go and ask him. Everything I'm telling here, go and ask him. President Paul Biya is one of the most progressive persons that a lot of people don't understand. And the ministers think that it is by lying that they are supporting him. No, he's not interested in those lies. He's too old to be interested in that they are praising him and lies. He is more interested in us seeing that when he goes, the country will, Cameroon will work. That is his legacy. He will work, because those lies are killing his legacy. He's more interested in making sure that youth will work, that our economy, that his 2035 becomes a true story, that there's import substitution. So these are some of the things we need to understand, and what we are saying today is the foundation of Cameroon, and it must work.
Okay, doctor, we'll be coming back to you. Good afternoon, Jarvis. My own contribution is that the whole system in Cameroon needs to be restructured. We need a country that is corruption-free. Thank you. This is coming from Titicus. Thank you very much, Titicus. This one right in Bamenda. It says, in Cameroon, there are several sectors that are often considered neglected and have the potential to contribute significantly to national growth. Here are the 5 sectors that could be further developed. Number 1 is agriculture. Despite being a key sector, agriculture in Cameroon is still largely subsistence based. There is ample room to invest in modern farming techniques, irrigation system across, and to finance infrastructure and enhance productivity, value addition in crops and livestock farming. Number 2, renewable energy. Cameroon has a sustainable, substantial hydropower potential that remains largely untapped. Expanding renewable energies sources such as solar, wind, and also biogas can help address the country's energy challenge, reduce reliance on fossil fuel, and boost economic development. Number 4, manufacturing and industrialization. The manufacturing sector in Cameroon is relatively small and faces numerous challenges, such as limited access to finance and outdated infrastructure. Promoting industrialization through targeted investment, incentive, and supportive policies can foster job creation, increase export, and enhance the country's competitiveness. Number 4, information and communication technology. While the IC sector in Cameroon has experienced growth, there is still vast untapped potential. Expanding hubs and promoting digital literacy can accelerate the development of e-commerce, e-governance, and other IC enabling sector. Tourism. Number 5, despite its rich cultural natural heritage, Cameroon's tourism industry remains largely undertapped and providing infrastructure and promoting ecotourism initiative and enhancing marketing effort that can attract more visitors, generate revenue. Investing in these sectors could play a significant role in driving economic growth, development, reducing poverty, and improve the overall socioeconomic condition of Cameroonians. This is coming from an anonymous sender. Professor Mac Akuhmbom, a while ago you mentioned 5 key areas in which you talk about the fact that education, agriculture, health, progressive leadership, and civil society are the 5 key aspects. I want to settle first on education. Dr. Nick is also a promoter. That's why I want to set on education. And also you are, everybody here is within the educational family. When we look at Cameroon's education, are we satisfied, or what do we need to restructure in the education? Because as we speak now, kids are still being trained on how to draw grasshopper. Kids are still being trained on how to understand who see around the world. Kids are still being trained on how to know that Mungo Park discovered River Niger, and all as though there was nobody who knew that this is River Niger passing across their backyard. As we speak now, kids are still being trained on how to draw fly. But when we look at the kids in China, within their early age, they are producing what we are using in Africa. As we speak now in Africa, kids are being trained how to pray and fast, and how to prophecy, and how to sing beautifully in church. The boys on your court.
Thank you very much, Jarvis. Let's speak to Cameroonians and to Africans. Education is one of the very basic foundations of a community. And the progress of a society depends on the education of that particular society. The question you should ask yourself is, what is education in the first place? Because most of the times we think schooling is all about education. Schooling is just an aspect of education. Education in itself actually means to bring out from within. Because if you look at the Latin word from which it comes from, educos, it means to pull out from within. So to bring out from within. It means every human being has something inside, and that thing needs to come out. And the purpose of schooling is supposed to be to actually stir up that thing that you possess inside, so that you can bring it out for the contribution of towards the economy of your society. But you look at it, when I mention education in Cameroon and Africa, why in Europe and in China and elsewhere, I don't want to even use China, let me say Europe, they are busy teaching their children, orienting their children based on the, I think it's the same, they call it SIM, right? The STEM, voilà, beg your pardon. Yes, the STEM stuff, where they actually orient a child based on the content of the person. What you prove to be more efficient in. They don't evaluate children competitively like we do here. We think that it is when I put a child against another that we know.
So follow the equality than the equity.
It is funny because evaluating a child with another child does not bring out the best of that child. You evaluate a child with the child's capacity. And that is what is happening in Europe. Why here in Africa, we are still at the base. But why is it like that? That is because when the Europeans actually came to Africa, they were not intending to educate Africans. Their intent was to create a workforce that will help them do their menial jobs. And successfully, they created a system that would permit them get that. You had arithmetic, which was to help them count their bags of cocoa and all that. So then you also have them teaching you how to speak English or their language, so that you will know how to communicate with them. Yeah. Then the rest, typing, manual labor, typing, writing, that's English and all that. The rest, you can get to talk of manual labor, or we call it whatsoever. That helps them to know who is strong in order to be able to use in their farms, in their plantations. And successfully, they got that and they passed that to us. We held it and thought it was education. And we have been keeping it for generations. And time has actually come where we say, okay, we are now independent, and we want to foster the increase our educational level. But we keep on using the same curriculum, which is actually not empowering. Let's say in Cameroon we have a school where we are supposed to train engineers. You go to Yaoundé, there's a National Polytechnic which trains engineers. And when we want to construct a road, we say our engineers are not qualified to do the job. We need to go to China to bring in engineers. I want to ask a question. Why is it that China, that was also colonized, like we were colonized, had the capacity to raise engineers who can construct their nation and whom even Europeans are in need of? In fact, the entire war uses the services of the Chinese people. What gave them that capacity? It is because they never abandoned their education system when the white man came. They maintained it, then they learned from the white man, and then when they discovered that the white man did not give their best, they stayed behind, then sent their children to the white man's land to learn and come back. Yes, see what they do it. And when you bring it, you get the secrets, come back with it so that we innovate our own. But what happened in Africa? I don't know if it is because of the kind of way we were treated during the colonial period that actually brainwashed us. When you send, for example, I think during the time of Ahijo sent a lot of Cameroonians
Very few came back.
to abroad to go actually learn so that they can come back, innovate. Very few of them are back in Cameroon. Most of them went and remained there because it was more juicy over there than here. And they love the environment. So when they can come back to Africa, they'll come and say, you know, I'm coming from Europe. You know, that is not what we need. That is not what is going to give us development. Our diaspora was not sent. In fact, those whom the government sends was not for them to go learn for themselves. It was to learn for the nation, so that it can come empower the nation. But it's unfortunate now most of them come.
Prof,
when they give them a government job, they forget everything
Prof,
that they have ever learned.
Will you blame those who did not come? I want to give a practical example. On this same panel, House of Commons, we have Professor Innocent, who is an engineer, and he was sponsored by Cameroon's government. He went and studied. He said he came back, and he's working within the government.
Yes,
but the treatment, they're not giving him the opportunity to dish out what he brought. And he's frustrated with the system.
This is where I wanted.
And this is not just the first.
This is what I wanted to say. Almost all those you find in the government today went out and studied. Why is it that why they have been appointed into leadership, why is it that they are not contributing that token? That comes back to where Dr. Nick was actually saying that it is not the head leader who is making the appointments. It is those whom he had appointed to actually contribute towards growth. They are doing, they are celebrating. That, you see, we have actually abandoned the base. We are now holding on to branches. But that will never solve our problem. If Cameroon does not get to a point where we all agree, because at times when you say the educational problem is, the educational system is having a problem, they ask you, is it not the same system that has educated you? We are not refusing that educated us. We have a lack in ourselves. It is true you might be pushing. Okay, Dr. Nick is here as one of the panelists. He has been pushing a lot to see how he can do some stuff with his own, from his own direction. But I don't think what he comes up with as a curriculum will help the entire nation, because helping a few is not helping everybody.
So it should be collective.
It is supposed to be collective. So he is doing everything. He is struggling to even show a hand. But are you being received? That's the same thing Professor
Innocent was talking about.
At the end of the day, we will end up in individualism, doing things from a particular corner to help a few, but which is not appreciated.
A global result.
We will never have a global result, because it will still be limited. And that is where we have a problem. We must all agree that this educational system is not producing what we expect. We can't send children to do medicine. When they come back, we refuse to go to them. We go abroad. It's not okay. You can't take a child, send the child to go do engineering. Then when he comes back, he cannot produce a single. Let's talk of a toy. You can't send a child to go do agriculture and he does not have a farm. It is wrong. And so we must be practical with our educational system. Until we get to that point, we will still keep on playing cash and seek, hide and seek.
Very brief, so that I get
minute.
to.
Listeners, I just want to step in a little bit. I know it's not my turn to speak. Excuse me, Dickson. Just to mention, is because I want to link up an idea that you mentioned and Professor Innocent that you came up with, to link up something for the sake of our viewers.
Yeah.
Now, so why? I have not spoken to Dr. Professor Innocent, but I want to use an example to show you where we are having problems. The thing is, these days in America, when you study engineering, you also study the MBA along with it, or entrepreneurship along with it. When you study as a medical doctor, you also study public health. You understand? So the problem Professor Innocent is having is the problem of lack of entrepreneurship skills. So most of us who have studied, most of those who have studied abroad or wherever, you know, you study what you are supposed to study, and you put yourself in a box, and then when you come, you expect somebody to appoint you, you know, and give you facilities or whatever. But in reality, if you had the capacity to think out of the box, you will not be there. Take it, for instance, I'm sure you know of our let's quote our brother, Dr. Engineer Fontata Emmanuel. He's an engineer, but he came back. Why is he not working with the government? He's doing something and he's making it work. So it's in our mindset. You see, there are 4 ways of earning money. You can earn money as an employee, and 80% of Cameroonians want to be employees. 90% even. Which is wrong. They want to have a matricule number. It is the matricule disease that is killing us. Number 2, you can earn a living as a self-employed person. Okay, like Mr. Tambe, who owns this structure, he's a self-employed person. To hell with government jobs. He might have government contracts, but if you were to give him a job for 10 million a month, he will not take. Now, number 3, you can earn money as a businessman. I would say I'm a businessman. I'm a businessman. I moved from the category of self-employed to businessman. And you can, the 4th category is to be a baba, alaji baba, an investor. So we need to understand the different ways of how systems work, then come out of this employee mindset and move forward. That's what will work.
Dickson, engineer, you talked about the fact that nations have learned to focus on what is called in economy as absolute cost and comparative cost. If I look at what you are saying, the nations have decided to look at what works best for them and they capitalize on it, because if we look at the concept of international trade, which is on comparative cost advantage and absolute cost advantage, the competitive cost advantage, which states that you should focus on investing more on what you know you can produce best. The absolute cost advantage states that you should focus on everything and do with everything. Now, you are saying that if we go to China, they have invested, they had one particular sector which is their backbone. When you go to India, it's IT, which is their backbone. When you go now to the United States of America, they have their own backbone. But when you come to Cameroon, which backbone? And how can we identify this backbone?
Agriculture is our backbone.
Mr. Jarvis, leave me with your economic balance. I'm not an economist. I speak from the common sense perspective. I'm an engineer, but I think common sense makes me understand basic economics. Agriculture is the backbone of Cameroon economy. I think one of our viewers intervened and brought up key points which I have here. It's as though he's reading what I have. He made mention of new farming techniques. He made mention of irrigation. These are things I have. So it tells you that the spirit is already connecting. The ideas are there. Now the leaders who are listening to us must take action, because they make policies and give us the possibility to implement them. Prices of commodities are going up, Mr. Jarvis. Basic commodities, food. Cameroon has a vast potential of agriculture. Lands that have not been exploited. When you travel from Douala to Boya, you see lands that are there, no agricultural products on it. These are lands that can be apportioned for productivity. Irrigation is something we should start imbibing in our agricultural system, because you can't explain why you have tomato this season, the other season you don't have tomato. Meanwhile, the land is practically fertile. So if we bring in irrigation and look at certain climatic conditions that can permit tomato to do well all round, we have solved the tomato scarcity problem. So we should start looking at agriculture from that standpoint. And the state as well have to give support when it comes to technicalities. They have agricultural schools. They have people going about educating farmers. Even these people who are going about to educate farmers have their limitations. For the government to break even in this area, we should look at countries that have succeeded in agriculture. We sign partnership with them for them to come in and intervene in our agricultural sector, because technology can fail, Mr. Jarvis, but food will never fail. Technology can fail. We have a third world war today. It takes just a second for the whole internet system of the world to go down. A second, one bomb, we will turn to what? Food. If we can't see food, there is bad. Look at what is happening in Gaza.
Yes.
Look at what is happening in Gaza. I think
almost 2 million people starved.
No water.
No water, no
when
fuel.
things like this are happening, stakeholders need to be scared. It can happen. It can reach here. We can get to a third world war, and it happens that we can't feed ourselves.
Why are you saying like it can happen? It has happened. Well,
Okay.
Look at the war between Russia and Ukraine.
How we suffered.
Wheat were not
Skyrocketed.
coming, and so bread and flour price increased.
So-
and Dr. Lee was even proposing a solution.
Voila. So we should be thinking out of the box. How do we harness our agriculture? How can Cameroonians feed fat? And not only feed fat for Cameroon, we can export that out of the country and feed the world. That's how we should be thinking of. There is a sector which the viewer also made mention of, renewable energy. Mr. Jarvis, as we are talking now, okay, we have 2 dams that are very active, Sanaga and Lagdo. All right, Cameroon as at 16 is generating 8 billion kilowatts. All right, and out of the 8 billion watt exporting, we're exporting 4
billion.
Yes, we're exporting 4, and we're using 4 point something. Okay, now when we look at the rural areas, when we talk agriculture, rural areas, if we have to mechanize agriculture, it means rural areas need electricity, two of us. Okay, so now 45 to close to 50% of rural areas don't have electricity. So it tells you really that mechanization of agriculture, because urban cities don't have land. So instead of selling electricity out, why not make sure all rural areas have electricity? That would give a platform for us to bring machines that used to do large-scale agriculture. Why are we selling electricity? All right, I said just 2 dams are very active now in Cameroon. The rest, they are using the power stations. It's not, if you go online, you see not completed. If you go online, no people, Romo is saying they are producing. I don't know what they are producing, but actually online is not completed. Maybe not completed. In Douala, it's by gas. That's giving light to Douala. In Limbe, we're station being powered by fossil fuels. In Kribi, there is a power station. So it means that the hydro potential of our hydro electricity has not been harnessed. The telepower of solar just about 0.8% of our energy grid is being powered by solar. That's too small. So we should boost the energy, because if we intend mechanized agriculture, you see the chain. If we don't boost energy, agriculture cannot be mechanized. How do you want to bring machineries that not function well in the rural areas? All right, another has not been mentioned is the small and medium size enterprise. Yes, SME. Now, Jarvis, I think Cameroonians, when people want to travel, like this, if stakeholders are hearing it seriously, when Cameroonians say they want to travel, it's not because people don't have to start business. Okay, people who are traveling are not poor people. To Canada, no less than 4 million. Okay, with 2 million, you can start a 2 million start your pressing now today in one local in Douala, and what happen to you? Also with a black jacket will appear in front of you without even knowing where you have taken money from, and will run you down.
Let me just give you an idea. There was a shop being constructed. Once the shops completed around Ancien Road, the end to Nsungkikang, a location under construction, the council guys just passed it. As it finished, they just came and cancel.
Okay.
Like it was work.
Yeah.
Was it cancel? Then the business place.
Good.
The man has not. But you have started harassing.
So, Mr. Jarvis, please.
Let me put
please.
something.
The point I'm making is, and I'm talking to stakeholders, because we all are Cameroonians. If you cannot be comfortable in your country, you never be comfortable in another man's. We should say the truth. Okay? I've not started any what my businesses are. And now the state agents don't understand what President Paul Biya stand for, I think I tally with what Doctor is saying, because President Paul Biya is not the one controlling these guys who come in dark suits and stand and disturb people who have shops. And you need to see the way they even talk to you. So rude, as if you are a foreigner from another country. They themselves who are even talking to you don't have Bob in their houses. They don't have a shop. And you have opened a shop to recruit a Cameroonian. They come, they disrespect you, talk to you anyhow. I have a friend who have opened a factory. He is using paper to produce X-ray. My phone rang. I said, what's the problem? That the guy from Ministry of Environment, they have come, they want to shut him down. I said, wait, I'm coming. There's a new law which states that all a company of a certain scale, they need to have a certain document called attestation of environmental compliance. Okay, you have met this guy who have made his investment. He brought his small machineries from China, who wants to start something to get the economy working, and he doesn't have that true. He doesn't have. What, you are a state agent, okay? When you meet somebody like that, understanding how tight the economy is, you need to educate the person. Yes. Okay? Now, you go out, educate, and when you educate the person, you give a leaflet. Say, these are the things you need to do. Please try to regularize yourself. And when you give that person, take a discharge back to your authority. That I met this man. Yes, he started. It's just been 3 months. I have issued him. I've given him 3 months. This is a discharge. He signed it, so he has it. That's proof. It shows that you, the agent who is at the field, you are working. Now, when you take it to your authority, when your authority now is doing a file summary, he can then say, "Oh, we gave this man 3 months. Please go again and find out if he has started the process or not. If he has not started, you can impose on him a consultant. Work with this man, he will help you." You see, state agents that want an economy to work, they work with their consciences. They work with their heart.
You are saying something normal in a normal society.
Yes.
Let me contribute something. Before you.
Just let me answer Dr. Nick.
Yes.
The truth is, these guys are not sent out to come and close down. They are sent out to come and
sensitize, but they come and shut down.
But when they come and they need money, they intimidate. When you are a Cameroonian who is afraid, the moment they say, I'm closing, you start shivering. You start going to negotiate. They know that Cameroonians are like that. So how much will you give? And then the end, you discover that they take money from you.
Okay.
But if they come and you show them that you are a Cameroonian who knows what you are after, they will go.
That's how it is. Yeah, so the small and medium-sized enterprise needs to be encouraged. The government needs to review their taxes. The Prime Minister did something during the COVID. He reduced taxes of these guys. But while we're following Khan, taxes again went up, and we don't know how it happened. There was no announcement when the taxes went up. So thank you. I rest my case.
Yes, yeah, I think it's something that we really need to take care of, because like I said, we are in a country where you see even top government officials play TV lottery to go out. And I ask myself, what's the question? Top government officials have their wives to go and give birth in another country to take another nationality. Means something is wrong somewhere. Because this is the baby industry, tourism industry is booming in Cameroon. You see, a government official will tell you, my wife, I have American children. My wife did not give birth here. My child is an American. And they're proud of him. Yeah. Doctor.
Of course, when you say that, most of the time, I don't know about this, but I understand many of them have double nationalities. Yeah. Though the law does not allow it, but many of them have double nationalities. So you see, they are foreigners.
They are aliens.
Dr. Nick Ngwanyan,
yes.
I want us to conclude on this. I'll briefly talk about the issue of roads.
Yes.
And now, you are a stakeholder. What do you see is President Paul Biya shouldn't be blamed? The people he worked with, I think all of us, most people here have shared the value that it should be a shared responsibility and individual base.
Yes.
Now, in these 5 sectors that we know things are, because people have the different sectors that need to be developed, what are you proposing as 5 priority areas and steps to follow to attain what we need to attain in terms of having that vision 2035? Because Professor Mark is not okay with it, that we may attain that vision 2035, looking at the fact that in 2023 getting to 2024.
Yeah, if someone were to ask you, when is the best time to plant a coconut? You know that it takes long for a coconut to mature. Yeah. Of course, though there are some new varieties now that come, but I mean, technically, when is the best time for you to plant a coconut? The best time is now. Once you come to the point to say, I need to plant coconuts, then just go ahead and plant the coconuts. Don't be waiting and thinking and procrastinating and asking questions, going to a Ngambe man and so on. No. If you think that planting a coconut will help you and or your children or your generation tomorrow, then go ahead and plant it. It's a mindset. So there are things, yes, we have wasted so much time. 2035 is a milestone. I mean, we are going towards it, and we have lost a lot of time doing nothing, just drinking and dancing and praising the president instead of working. So now, once we come to the realization that it is injury time, then we have to change our mindset. Let's go back to football. You know how when Cameroon is playing with her back to the wall, when they are getting to injury time, they come out of their cocoons and fight. That is the spirit we have to take. It has to be a fighting spirit. No more joking, no more looking around. And so,
no more lies telling.
Yes, no more lies telling. It's going forward. And you know, this is it. If you go and look at, see how many ministers, directors are in prison. It just tells you that president is not interested in your your graft and all. Yes. Just do your work. And you know, I can understand what President Paul Biya is going through because I own a system. I own a business, a system, you know. And I'm sure you also work, we all work in systems. And when you work in a system and you are the creator of the system and the manager or leader of the system, your team is what makes it succeed or fail.
Sure.
And if you're not owned a system, you will not get it. If you're always been a follower, only looking for somebody to pay you a salary or something, it's very different. But when you are a team, when you have created systems, then you realize that the most difficult thing to work with is human beings.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Once you know how difficult it is to work with human beings, then you will know what it takes to put a winning team together. And that putting together a winning team for a whole nation like this is not easy.
Yeah.
And it just so happens that, you know, human beings have, how do I say it? You know, when we talk about leadership, you have leaders who lead from the front, leaders who lead from the back, and leaders who let you be, who are democratic. You know, a leader, someone like President Traore leads from the front.
Yes.
President Paul Biya leads from the back, okay? And then he leads from the back and he allows you a lot of democracy to use your willpower, to use your ingenuity. But unfortunately, because a lot of the people he has chosen are sycophants and praise singers, when he puts them in place, instead of them jumping into the boat and making things work, they instead go and stand behind him and are asking him, should I fill this pothole? Should I feed this sick child? And so he is overwhelmed. He puts you there to do a job, and instead of you doing the job, you are looking at him again. Come the president Adi. As the president said, according to high instruction, everybody is waiting for high instructions. And by the way, I was listening to a clip from OC just yesterday on social media, and he was talking about Enam, the spirit of Enam. And he said something that is right. Enam has to be crushed and closed tomorrow. Not. Or it should be closed. No, it should not be closed today. It should be closed yesterday. You understand what I mean? Enam should be closed yesterday. Why? Because this is a structure that was put in by the colon. So it has a colonial mentality, and all that they do, they are not proactive. They are not trained to be proactive. They are not trained to produce solutions. They are follow instructions. So now, the president's ministers and everybody are people who came from a mindset of following instructions. You don't do anything without instructions. So that is the mindset that has killed the country. We need to move into a place where everybody is progressive in thinking. Everybody moves to the front and then goes into the battlefield, fighting to correct things. If we don't do that, we are all wasting our time.
Okay.
And once we have that mindset set, that's the education has to be changed. And I'm glad, probably you don't know it, but Dickson knows, you all know, that the new law on higher education, that law is the best thing that has happened in 60 years. And President Pobia has added the icing on the cake with imposing import substitution, and he's also said that all private and private universities and state universities must create industries, which means we are going practical now. That rigmaroling and telling stories and theory morning and evening is over. I mean, that period is over. So you're going to have a lot of painful changes for some people, because of a lot of people have been feeding from a failed system, but that's going to go, and we are going to reset especially the education. We will work on the agriculture. Oh, by the way, for agriculture, just permit me say this, St. Louis University Institute is starting at the Department of Agriculture in Simbok, Yaoundé, and the agriculture that we are starting there is the modern kind of agriculture. It's different from for the agriculture that we are doing now in many other schools, in the sense that it is agricultural biotechnology, which will call for a lot of engineering and many things, and missions are just starting. Mechanization. Yeah. And you read that, Dickson, right? And I'm going to come to you, because we are going to put hands together and begin to make mechanize. We'll be making machines. We will teach our children to be making machines. You know, you can easily make a tractor, right? Of course. Yeah, of course. So we're making all these things. And you know, there was this government thing called cinema. You know cinema? Yes, that's many years ago in Corbison. It was still a government thing, but with the government mindset, it's failed. So St. Louis, yes, St. Louis will do what cinema was supposed to do. We'll train youth to be able to do most of the things. And I'm telling you that import substitution is coming to stay, and agriculture is the backbone. And see, watch my lips. If we correct our education and do things well, agriculture and its value added chains, we can create 2 million jobs for youth in Cameroon every 2 years if you want to. Okay. I read somewhere that just importing wheat from France, we spend about 200 billion just importing wheat for France a year, or was it in a quarter or something like that? I'm telling you that we can get that money back in Cameroon.
We are out of time.
Yes.
Briefly talk about the second topic.
Oh yeah, okay. But the bottom line is, you see all that money that we waste importing food, if we were to do it in Cameroon, our children would keep that money and be rich.
That's publicity now, doctor.
On va faire comment?
I want us to take the second topic. We are 17 minutes. We are 17 minutes now.
1 minute.
1 minute. We will not have time to the next topic. We have to go around.
Go ahead.
I want to look at bad road. It still fall within the line of these things that we have to do. I'm sure you can still put it within it. The second topic, we look at bad road. If we move around the country, from northwest, southwest, east, center, even in Yaoundé, the bad road is terrible. We are more focused on building toll gates, beautiful toll gates, and our roads are terrible. I don't know, do we need divine intervention? Do we need to pray? Don't our leaders travel? Don't they go to other countries? Don't we have these resources, Professor Mark?
It is something that at times when you want to talk about you even lost words. You see, I was talking on a sister TV the other day concerning this issue of port roads and bad roads. I remember I had to be on TV that day at I think 7 p.m. and rain started. I had to drive under the rain, and on driving at times I'll just discover myself in potholes because the road seems to be good, but it's water that has filled the whole thing, so you are jumping into potholes. Boom, boom. So the question is it possible to keep a car in this country for 1 year? They do not only have bad roads, but when they have to sit and think and reflect on how to construct roads, they think of punishing the car owner. They go to increase, those are taxes, the VDET of a car, they double it. I think this year all of those who have cars can testify that they paid double of what they paid last year. You want to go to pay insurance no more the way it used to be. You want to go pay for visit technique is no more the way it used to be. The question is, all that money, where is it going to? What are they doing with it? You have a car of 22 horsepower. you pay vignette for 200,000. You are asking a question. With this amount of money, what is happening with you? Where are they taking it to? That you can live here, you want to travel to Bamenda, from Douala to Bamenda. There is no road. In fact, there is a, how do they call it again, a toll gate up here. Very beautiful toll gate, well constructed, but there is no road leading to that toll gate. So why place toll gates without roads? You want to go down to Boya, there is another one there.
Atiko.
Very beautiful, but the roads, Okay, live here and go to Yaoundé. You bypass, I think, 4 of them that have been well constructed. But drive through to Yaoundé is a problem. Which road do we have? You can go back from Yaoundé to Bafoussam. All the roads are bad. And then let's come back to city. Now I was talking of interurban roads. Let's come back to the cities. Inside Douala, where we live, where we are, which street in Douala has a road where you can drive for 5 minutes without the pothole? There is none. The question is, what are they doing with taxpayers' money? What are they doing? Because at this point, I'm not blaming but the Ministry of Public Works. We should be looking now at the mayors, the city mayor. What are they doing to construct the city? To make the city, in fact, you have been elected into a position.
And even, Prof, there is also a problem, because even the pedestrian track is not done by them, because people have constructed and blocked the pedestrian track.
They have
Markets have taken
businesses have been placed on pedestrian
track. So people are forced now to use the road.
And the funny thing is, these businesses are there, they are paying taxes. And you are collecting the taxes knowing that they are wrongly positioned. How do you expect that a pedestrian should walk? They will enter the road. And then worst of it, okay, doctor, if you check very well before you drove and come here, there are times where you see a pothole here, you need to enter the other the side and come back. Why don't you think accidents will happen? The moment you need to leave your side of the road to enter another person's side of the road, what do you think? An accident can happen without you.
I had this argument with somebody was saying, c'est moi le chef de l'État. la route.
C'est moi qui
because he was using our track, and I was asking him, why don't you use our track? And the person was asking, tu es fou, c'est moi le chef de l'État.
He wants to protect his car, but he's placing everybody in danger. But that's how it is. Okay. And when you speak, Cameroonians tell you, ce n'est pas moi qui ai gâté la route. I'm not the one who destroyed this road, so don't blame me for it. Yes, to an extent they are right. Even constructing a road, like what happened recently in around St. Louis here, I saw how engineers were brought to work on the road. They went and took sand and cement.
You just removed what I wanted to ask engineer Dickson.
Threw on the road, and then after that they painted it with tar.
Yes. Okay.
How do you expect that kind of road to waste to make 2 days? The moment rain dropped on the ground, it washed the whole thing.
And we are back again to square that area.
We need to bring in another money to do the same work.
It just did 2 months ago.
Yes.
It's 2 months ago.
And it's gone.
It's gone. Engineer Dickson.
Yes.
It seems like Cameroon is the only country in Africa that use sand and cement to fix road there.
This is a very.
Is that a new engineering technique?
I heard it's new.
I will not say that. I will not go into that. I think we are talking to the public. It's a very serious issue. And if I am a mayor of Douala, I'm not mayor for myself. I'm mayor for the people. And I think that after I am no longer mayor, I will still be using the facilities I made possible for the Douala people. I think that it's a poor culture that we have in Cameroon. Look at the road from Ferrouche right to Sable. That road was constructed 2018, 2019. That road, it took, I think, 4 years for that road to be constructed. That road is not up to 6 years, it's bad. So he start telling you. But now look at from an engineering standpoint. After the earthworks of a road, the first most important thing after earthworks, meaning you grade and then check the geotechnics, if the soil is okay, you need to change the soil. The first most important thing is drainage. If is drainage. Look at where the problem is in Douala now. Most roads don't have good drainage. Even those that have drainage, you see the engineers who construct the road, that water has to flow from point A to B. Now the water will start from point A. Then water now will leave point B, which it has to go and exit point B, will leave, and then they'll come and meet somewhere now, and then the whole road will be filled. You see that almost everywhere in Douala. Yes. So it tells you that they don't lay emphasis on what is really important. The drainage has to carry that water to its destination. You see that? Now after the drainage, then can you now focus on the various layers, and when you are putting up the various layers, you give time for binding. But it's like everything is fast. Okay, where they have to be fast or not be fast, they have to be fast at the point of earthworks. But when it comes to time to give time for surface binding, they have to take a little bit of time and apply certain technology, because Douala, the temperature is very high. Douala has extreme temperatures. There are times the temperature goes very high and very low, you know, depends on the season.
Also, it's on the sandy.
Humidity is humid. So now when we have all these vehicles applying these roads, what happens? And the sun, it detaches the layer. That's delamination. Okay, it detaches the tar, the various surfaces. And when rainy season comes, now what happens? We washes it away, and we are going back to square one.
Why we have resorted to sand and cement?
Maybe because that's poor. We have poor road construction practice, and the government is fully aware of this. That's why when they have major roads, Doc, when you see the road Garwa, Marwa, I bet whoever has traveled that road, it was constructed by the Chinese. When you look at that road, then you come back now and look at what we have, probably Boya to Douala Boya. The difference is clear. The Chinese, what they did there on the drainage system, perfect. Even where you see a cliff, the way they engineer the technology, you know that the government did not do wrong to go and bring these people from China. You know, so our own are failing us. Our own.
Doctor, yes. You said we in Africa we are used to praying and praying, but don't we need prayers for our roads in Cameroon? The ring road promised 30 years, we have not had it. Okay, toll gates being built left and right, no cars to get to the toll gate.
Oh, thank you very much. Yeah, we do need prayers, but we have to understand what prayers are and what we need them for. You see, when it comes to the ring road, the good news is that the president has authorized now, and Shay Jones, my brother, is the one building that ring road, and he has started. Actually, he's just waiting for the rains to cease, then he will go into serious work. And if you don't know who Shay Jones is, His Excellency Shay Jones is the one building the road at Yassa now. You know, he has Mac, who is a big company, and he's a trustworthy guy. So as for the ring road, it's laid to rest. Now, Anumutong, why do you pray? You don't just pray. No, you pray to bless God, to thank God. You pray for God to help other people. Then you pray for God to give you wisdom, answers to your problems. And you have to have that little voice that can pick up the answers and the clues that God are giving you. But most of us, we pray just to make noise. We pray, we come to with a shopping list to God just to ask, and we never think. And you think that when you pray for food, God is going to bring the food to your doorsteps. No. When you pray, God gives you a mindset of how you are going to farm the next season. So yes, God is not a supermarket. You pray so that God will give you wisdom on where you will find a fertile farm and how you are going to work it, how you are going to invest, and so on. But God has been answering our prayers, but we don't understand how God works. We think that God is supposed to bring the corn to your door. No.
Okay.
So it's very important that we understand that, and to say that this issue of the roads, the progressive CPDM has a project plan. No, the word is a blueprint of what we will do to have these roads done. What will it be done? Engineer is going to help us here. You see all these our universities and schools, we are going to change them into engineering and technology. 70%. We are going to do what the Chinese have done. The Chinese 40 years ago, they changed 70% of their universities into STEM, and that is so we'll change all these are faculties. All right, they will do that. Then imagine that we now just take for instance, we now buy a lot of caterpillars from China or anywhere, and we have caterpillars in every subdivision, and we train many of our youths yes, to form companies, indigenous companies, and then we take seasoned people like you and they head those companies. All right, and then now we go. Listen to me carefully. I don't know why we don't.
Out of time.
I know, but we are solving a problem. Then we go to Sonara. I don't know why we don't produce tar in Sonara, but if we don't have, no problem. We go to Saudi Arabia and borrow tar. Are you following me? Then we now go to China and borrow concasseur, that the stone crusher. We come and put them everywhere to be crushing stones. We borrow trucks from China, borrow them to be carrying, and the youths, we teach girls to be driving all those trucks. And not even boys, It will be the girls that will
build. We're out of time.
I'm telling you that the girls will build our roads. the girls who they want to build our roads. Since the men cannot do it, the girls will do it to show you that we are. And then we imagine we help these youth. They will build our roads, even the farm to market roads. They will build everything.
Thank you very much.
Lack of the will.
Thank you very much, Doctor, for coming.
Thank you.
Very well.
May Yongshi, happy Saturday Sunday.
Thank you very much, Professor, for coming.
Thank you very much, Jarvis, for the opportunity. And thank God for Cameroonians who watch us and Africans who were willing to give us their ears today.
And of course, thank you very much for coming, Engineer Dickson.
Thank you very much, Mr. Jarvis. It's always an opportunity to talk to Cameroonians.
I want to wish happy Sunday to the member of Fraternité St. James. I'm talking about the Fraternité St. James. I'm talking about Lorella, but then I'm talking about Letisa and Defo Kelly. Happy Sunday to you, Zomo. To all those of you in the Cora Negro, Frank Pola, and all the rest, happy Sunday to you. And this program comes out every Sunday at exactly 12 to 1:30. Rebroadcast the same day, Sunday 10:30 p.m. Today I have a rebroadcast. You can follow it up on our YouTube channel, BT Media Group. I want to also say you can follow it up on Facebook, My Media Prime, BT Media Prime, BT Media Group. Also, you can have a program. If in case you want to be a panelist, you want to take part in on a discussion, the numbers that you see on your screen, you inform me and I'll put you into the group where we always share the topic of discussion. If it is of your interest, you can participate as usual, and always, no matter the matter, what matters is your matter. And of course, what should matter for you this day is that you should know the truth, because only the truth shall set us free. My name is Tah Mai Jarvis from Cameroon's commercial capital, Douala. Fengu John Bange. Bye-bye and au revoir.